Imagine walking into the marble halls of the Supreme Court, not to see black-robed justices leaning over thick stacks of legal briefs, but to see a sleek, humming server rack, maybe with a little RBG Forever sticker slapped on the side. No quills, no gavels, just blinking lights and a voice that sounds suspiciously like your GPS, announcing, "Please present your arguments in plain language. Sarcasm will be ignored." It sounds like a sci-fi thought experiment, but the idea of an AI Supreme Court raises real questions about justice, fairness, and whether the Constitution can or should be interpreted by something that's never paid taxes, gotten a parking ticket, or been told to take its feet off the coffee table. Let's start with the perfect justice argument. Advocates imagine a system where AI absorbs centuries of case law, constitutional debates, and precedent. Every Oliver Wendell Holmes dissent, every Louis Brandeis privacy opinion, every Scalia quib, and processes them without bias. No campaign contributions, no political leanings, no worrying about what the front page of tomorrow's newspaper will say. Just pure, precedent-based reasoning. Imagine Holmes's pragmatic realism meeting Breyer's active liberty, running on a chip cooled by quantum liquid nitrogen. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. famously said, "The life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience." The AI counter-argument is, "That's nice, but I have all the experience, literally all of it, in my database, without the messy human flaws." Holmes might reply, "Sure, but can you feel the moral arc of the law, or are you just really good at autocomplete?" Then there's Louis Brandeis, the prophet of privacy. Brandeis warned about insidious encroachment by men of zeal. Well-meaning, but without understanding. Swap men of zeal with neural networks, and you start to see the nightmare side. An AI justice could theoretically decide a privacy case by comparing terabytes of historical data, yet still miss the very human sense of what too much intrusion feels like in daily life. And what about Antonin Scalia, the originalist who'd insist AI stick to the Constitution's text as understood in the late 18th century? The algorithm might end up Googling, "How did 1789 farmers feel about Wi-Fi?" and come back with a decision banning TikTok for being too similar to witchcraft. Scalia's originalism was rooted in a human reading of historical context, not just keyword matching the Federalist Papers. On the progressive side, Ruth Bader Ginsburg might appreciate AI's consistency, but she'd be quick to point out that precedent alone isn't enough. Law evolves because society evolves. An AI Supreme Court would have to understand why Marshall's opinion in Brown versus Board of Education was revolutionary in 1954. Not just that it overruled Plessy versus Ferguson. That decision wasn't just a legal shift, it was a moral one, shaped by decades of lived injustice. Thurgood Marshall knew that lived experience changes interpretation. As the first African-American justice, his judgments came with the weight of reality. What it actually meant to live under the laws being debated. Can a line of code know what discrimination feels like? Can it grasp why Sandra Day O'Connor stressed narrow tailoring in affirmative action cases, balancing competing social values without triggering a national shouting match? Stephen Breyer's approach, seeing the Constitution as a living document meant to serve democratic purposes, would be especially tricky for AI. Algorithms are great at finding patterns, but not at sensing when the pattern itself is wrong. Breyer might ask, if the people change, should the law not adapt? The AI might reply, the people are 67% in favor, but this conflicts with subroutine 14b. Shall I override? Not exactly a ringing defense of democracy, and that's the heart of the problem. AI could process every precedent and statute in milliseconds, but it might lack the flexible reasoning, and yes, occasional contradictions, that human justice requires. The law isn't a math equation, it's an evolving conversation between past wisdom and present reality. Now, let's be fair. Humans have their own flaws. Judges can be swayed by politics, personal beliefs, public opinion, or just bad coffee. Confirmation battles turn into partisan theater. Some decisions seem written more for cable news soundbites than for the ages. AI wouldn't showboat, wouldn't run for re-election, and wouldn't suddenly retire because it wants to spend more time with family, but really just wants out of Washington. The nightmare scenarios, though, aren't just about cold logic, they're about control. Who programs the AI? Who decides what case law gets prioritized, or how to weigh conflicting precedents? Is the training data global or purely American? And here's the kicker. If the AI makes a ruling we hate, who do we appeal to? A bigger AI? Or do we dust off the robes and bring the humans back in? Picture this. AI rules 5-4 in favor of banning pineapple on pizza as a matter of culinary decency. You appeal, but the AI Supreme Court says, appeal denied. Also, now you are on a watch list for ordering pineapple. Sure, that's silly, but swap pizza for speech, or privacy, or bodily autonomy, and suddenly it's not so funny. An AI Supreme Court could bring dazzling consistency and near-infinite legal recall. It could eliminate bias from personal experience, but also lose the benefit of moral reasoning born from that experience. It could streamline the legal process, but also hard-code blind spots into our justice system that no one notices until it's too late. The question isn't whether AI can interpret the Constitution, it's whether we want it to, because law isn't just about being right according to past rules. It's about deciding what's right for the world we're building now. And sometimes that decision can't be made by looking at a database. It has to be made by looking another human in the eye and saying, this is just. And if one day a blinking server rack with a sticker that says equal justice under law does sit in that chamber, let's at least hope it's programmed with a little bit of Holmes's pragmatism, Brandeis's caution, Ginsburg's vision, Scalia's rigor, Marshall's empathy, O'Connor's balance, and Breyer's adaptability. Because perfect justice might not exist, but a nightmare? Well, that we could definitely code by accident. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more quality content like this one.